Hello everybody, SGTSolj here. We're back with another Break and Rust, and in our last episode, we were talking about foundation overlapping. It's a little trick that DZN come up with, basically to replace foundation stacking because that's been fixed now. Foundation overlapping allows you to still do the double doors even though the foundations will no longer intersect each other, right? So what we've done, at the end of that video, we promised we were going to do a base, and this is it. As you can see on the inside of this base at the very center, we pretty much have the overlapping going on. We have the double doors, double walls, whatever you want to put there. On the outside of that, we have 3 rows of squares, and on the outside of those squares, we have a foundation gap, which gives us another set of double doors or double walls, depending on what you want to do. On the outside of that double wall, double door, we have an additional and last layer of honeycombing, which gives us a lot of walls, especially for the amount of triangles we have. And altogether, this base is actually pretty beefy. We tested it, blowing from the center outside wall to the very center inside wall. It takes you 12 C4, no matter if you're blowing from the middle triangles or the triangle in the corner there next to the 2 squares. It's going to take you 12 no matter what. Now, most people aren't going to use 12 C4. They're probably going to use rockets, and that'll be something we cover in another video, as including the rest of the base build and the interior of the base. But as of right now, we're just going to be showing you how to do the foundation setup, and then from there, how you should probably start placing your doors. So just looking at it right now, I'm pretty excited. It's going to be a great base to show you. Hope you guys are looking forward to it. So step 1 for this base, just like the previous video with the overlapping, we're going to be starting with the 6 triangle foundations. Put in a circle, basically like a little circle tower. And then from here, we're going to be branching out. Now, what you branch out and where is going to be completely up to how you want to do this. No matter what, you have to number these foundations 1 through 6. Because foundations 1, 3, and 5 are going to be built one way, and foundations 2, 4, and 6 are going to be built a different way. It's the combination of those 2 builds that are alternating, 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6. It's the combination of those 2 that give this base its strength and actually allow you to be able to overlap everything. Because as we saw in the previous video, there was some trouble with overlapping because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. If you guys have attempted it by now, you might have realized for some reason when you try to overlap something next to another one that's overlapped, it just wasn't working. I don't know why. I couldn't get it to work either. He was able to get it to work, but can't explain why it worked for him sometimes and why it didn't. I don't know. But we came up with this base, and it actually makes it work. So, once you have your foundations numbered 1 through 6, you can move on to the next step. Now, once you get your foundations numbered 1 through 6, as I said, you need to pick foundations 1, 3, and 5, and you're going to do one thing with them. And for those foundations, we're going to be doing 4 half moons out. So, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then of course you're going to do your foundation at the end so you can stand on it, your cap. And then if we move over here, whoops, we're going to be building back from that foundation in squares all the way back to here. Now, like our previous video, I removed these. Our last square, as you see here, is going to be indented in. In order to place the triangle back, we have to upgrade this. And then trying to get it to place can be tricky, but make sure it places the right one. Did you see what happened there? It will also it will place indented into the other triangles. That's not what we want. That's a completely different build. So you gotta make sure it's connected right and overlapping the square like so. See how it's overlapping? Now that's 1, 3, and 5, or 2, 5, and 2, 4, and 6, however you want to do it. That's 3 separate ones, but they're alternating. Now for the other 3, for me it'll be 2, 4, and 6. You're going to do it this way. For step 3, you're going to go out 5 crescent moons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You're going to put your cap right here. And then you're going to build back with squares again. Now once you get to this point here, and I'll remove these, you're going to notice when you put this square in, it doesn't really look right. That's because this last square has to be removed, and you're going to build with triangles instead. So, there we go. And then you'll notice once you put the last triangle in, it indents the same way that the previous square was indenting. And then you take another triangle and then make sure that when you put this in, it gets put in correctly. Because like the previous one, it'll indent into the other triangles and we don't want that. We want the 2 of them to overlap each other. See that? That's what we want. Now from there, once you go around all sides, it's basically going to start looking like the previous build where it was getting really, really tanky looking. So as long as you do that, this step should be good. Now I know that may have sounded a little confusing during that whole process for the second step. If it was, I apologize. But once you get to this portion, if you do it correctly, this is what it's going to look like. you're going to have 3 triangles on 3 sides and 3 squares on 3 sides. They're alternating, right? 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6. And if we drop down, we put a doorway in, you'll see all of these are all double walled, double doored. You got 2 and 2, 2 and 2, come on, 2 and 2, 2 and 2, all the way around, right? Now, in order to get the base built around this, though, it can be a little tricky. So what you're going to do is you're going to start from the squares, and if you're having trouble with it, you can build out, over, and in, right? Or you could place it directly. Sometimes it'll let it go, sometimes it won't. It all depends on how lucky you are and the RNG of the game, really. Looks like I'm having no problems at all. That's good. So we'll remove the twigs, we'll fly back up, and this is now what it looks like. Basically, this is the interior of the base. At this point, we're going to start doing our foundation gaps, so we're going to do the outside layer of honeycombing, and it's going to start coming together. If you get to this point, the hard part is really already done. So you can pat yourself on the back because you're well on your way to having a really awesome base. Now, to move on to the next step, it's actually fairly easy. All you're basically going to do is just do a foundation gap. So we'll drop down, starting from the square, and we're going to go out 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll do our cap, and then remove all the way back. Now we're going to build back the triangles. Oops, wrong one. Wrong one again. Come on, foundations. Come on. Come on. There we go. Alright. So build here, build... Nope. Build there. Make sure it connects to the right one. That is the right one. And now we have our gap. Check it with the door. Obviously, you want to check it with the door while it's still twig. But once you have that into place, we can remove all this. Oops, start upgrading. And we can start placing all of our foundations in line here. Okay, so you can go all the way down the side. I would stop after doing those two. Do this one, and then stop after these two, because you're going to want to do the other side first before you start adding in the squares, because the squares could potentially screw you up if you're not doing them right. However, I know how to do it, so to save a little bit of time, we're just going to go ahead and skip right around. Notice, once you get one side done, you could just keep going all the way. If you're not comfortable doing it this way, that's perfectly fine. You could do your foundation gap building out all the way around the other way. At the end, it has to come together like this. So notice, it all snapped together perfectly fine. I did it just the way it needs to be. Awesome, right? Now this is when you come in and then you fill these gaps up. So we'll land, we'll get our triangle out. The triangle needs to connect to these 2 squares. That's the best way to do it, otherwise you're going to have stability issues as you get further up. So, did that do it? Nope, that connected the wrong one. It is a little bit of a pain because it wants to connect to the other foundations as well. I should probably turn my gibs down. I have too many gibs on. Oh, right there. Okay, see how those connect into place? It looks like it doesn't make a difference, but it really does. Let me go over here and I'll show you the example. Upgrade these 2. Let's say instead of connecting it to the exterior, see, now it won't connect to inside right there. I want to do it right there. Okay, see, now it's giving me problems. It won't let me do it. We need to fill this gap in, but I can't. So, no, we'll remove that. I'll place the one on the exterior here. There we go. And then try to fill this one in. Not doing it. There we go. It actually connected to the exterior a lot easier than I thought it would. Basically, it has to connect to the outside honeycombing layer. That just makes it easier to get them both in. You don't have to worry about it further on down the road. Nope, I did the wrong one again. Come on. Upgrade these 2. There we go. Alright. This is tough. And it might take you a little bit of practice to get it, but once it's done, it's done. You don't have to worry about it. I think I'm still missing it. I am still missing it. This is embarrassing. Come on now. I turn these gibs off. Nope. Still missing it. Is that it? Still missing it. There we go. Got it that time. Okay, so we finally got that in. That just goes to show you how tough it can be to fill those gaps in. But eventually, once you get to this point, the base is pretty much done. All you got to do is make sure you get everything upgraded, and then we're going to start putting the walls in. Okay, so we have all our foundations upgraded to sheet metal. Now it's time for the walls and doorways, right? Now the majority of you probably already know how to build a base, so I really don't have to explain the basics of placing walls correctly. However, if I didn't do it, someone would probably say, oh, well, I didn't know. And I don't want that because I want the videos to be as informative as possible, and I don't want to have to come back and make extra videos because I forgot to mention something in the first one. So basically, the way that I do this is I always start with the triangles on the outside first. So we're going to do our walls, go all the way around like this, right? Now personally, I always do multiple doors. So if you want to do 3 doors, you can do 3 doors. If you want to do 1 door, you can do 1 door. If you want to do 3 doors, you could do 3 doors. It depends on how you want to do your base. With this style of base, I would probably end up doing 3 doors. Now you have 3 options. You can either A, put the doors on the squares. I would not recommend that. Or you can put them in the triangles. I would recommend the triangles. So we're going to put 1 door there. We'll put 1 door there. And 1 door there. Like this. Now the reason we're doing multiple doors is because, let's say we're getting raided, and the raiders are coming in from this door, right? Let's say they're in this airlock. Come on, let me in. They're in this airlock right here. They're starting to blow their way through, etc. If you want to flank them, and this is your only exit of your base, how are you going to do that? Are you going to jump from the top? You might die. They might have someone watching you. Or are you going to run from your extra door over here, sneak your way around, and I'm not going to sneak, come to the backside and now they're all dead. So it's very important to have multiple entrances and exits from your base. So from here, basically all you're going to start doing is you're going to start filling in the honeycombing of the outside layer. Now when I do it, I always do triangles like this. My triangles always have the walls facing in. And I'll do them all in stone. Obviously you want to upgrade your outside wall to stone first before you do this. I'm just going to skip that part because you should know better. Always do your triangles. This. That's going to be an airlock, so we'll skip that. Triangles all the way around, yada yada yada. Skip that one again. Oops, missed that one. Okay, so we'll go back, upgrade them all, and you'll notice the hard side is always facing towards the outside of the base. It's very important. For you guys that aren't used to building bases like this, if I blow into a base, let's see, we'll go by here. If I blow into this base right here, and this is reversed, I can pick this wall down. Especially with the state of salvage picks right now, it doesn't take very long to rip these walls apart. If I could rip this wall down without using a C4 or rockets, that gives me access to this wall here. If this wall here is turned the wrong way, same thing. Pick. Now I'm inside the base. Very, very important to make sure your walls are always placed the right direction. Now once you get all these walls upgraded to stone, then you just go back and start adding the inside layer, or the outside layer, sorry, and then the inside layer. See that? So there's 2 layers for this gap. So for this one, I'll actually put a wall there, and then we'll do doorways. Your doorways should always face out of your base unless it's something different. Now we'll cover those in another video, but your doorways at this point should always face towards the exit because you don't want them to be on this side and they look at this and go, oh, well, I could just pick that down instead of blowing the door, and now all of a sudden they're in. So reverse these again. Fill the rest in like so. Make sure you do the outside layer first. It can be tricky, but you start to pick it up after a while. It does become a lot easier. Outside layer, outside layer. I missed this wall here. Oh, I don't want to remove that. Whoops. Hit the wrong button. So, also a little trick, if you don't know it, is once you have a wall placed, you can press R and it reverses the wall. That's the hard side. Alright. Like that. And then... okay, that's it. So now we have to go back and we have to go through the squares and do the double stack doors and whatnot. And then we have to do the corners here with their walls, and those will all go into place real nicely. It's all a piece of cake. Once you get to this point, notice these don't have the double stacked walls. So basically with these 2 triangles, you have to pick one to be hard side towards and the other one is just got to have the soft side. There's really nothing you can do about it. Build this one into place. And like I said before, the only reason I'm doing this is because someone's going to ask questions on how to do it, and I'm not going to be able to answer because the video is already out. So we're just going to make it easy and we're going to include it. Now the reason I removed that stone wall before, the stone doorway, is because you cannot place two doorways together unless they're both twig, both facing the same direction. So once you have them together, then you upgrade them, like so. So from here, if I fly up again, everything's starting to close in a little bit, right? Starting to feel a little bit tighter. We're going to keep bringing it in one more time. Now we're going to start with the doorways, and you notice, right here, these won't stack. Yeah, it's a pain. It's just the way that these triangles are. So either A, you could do one doorway here, or you could do one wall. It's up to you. I don't really care which way you do it. Me personally, I would make my door snake this way, and then come in this way, so that I have a hard wall here, and a hard wall there, and then a double wall here. That's just how I would do it. That's how my thing is. You can do it whatever way you want. All that matters is that that's your base. You can customize it however you need it to be. So you put a wall here, and then we're gonna double wall that. Oh wait, where are you? Oh, you're the triangle. Whoops. Okay, that's the triangle. We can skip that one. So that's a wall. That's a wall. That's a wall. You're a doorway. Doorway. Wall. Triangle again. Yep, you're the triangle again. Come on. Wall. Doorway. Doorway. And then finally, come on. Our last wall goes into place. Now, everything is pretty much all brought into the center. If you notice, there's 3 doors, which means that if they start blowing into one, there's plenty of opportunities for you to go ahead and get behind them from either of the other 2 doors. There's a lot of walls, so if they start blowing through walls, it's going to take them a while to get through it. They're going to need a lot of C4, or rockets if they want to use rockets. But with all those double walls, if they hit the outside wall, they're not going to be able to damage the inside wall. 4 rockets to take down an outside wall, 4 rockets to take down an inside wall. That's 8 rockets they wasted to get into 1 square. Not too bad, right? Now, as I said before, when we tested it, it was 12 C4 to blow straight in. From the side to the center, from the corner to the center. With that 12 C4, that's a lot of tech trash. Unless it's a really, really large clan, they're probably not going to have that much tech trash. They might end up getting to the center, and they might not be able to finish. So from here, the last thing I want to show you is where personally I would put the tool cupboard. Now with the tool cupboard, once they get to this point here, there's probably a pretty good chance that they're going to find it. So the best bet of hiding it and having it actually be somewhat protected would be putting it in one of these triangles here. And if I pick this one, right there, one of those 3 triangles right next to the center of the base. Because if you end up putting your wall correctly, put your wall correctly, they can't pick through either one of those walls if they end up blowing through this way, right? They blow through this way, they can't pick through that wall. And if they're smart, they won't blow through it. Well, I mean, it's smart for you. So we'll put this one down, we'll put this one down. We'll flip that one, flip that one. Now we have our tool cupboard behind a double door. Now if it's sheet metal, it's 2 C4. If they blow that wall, it's 2 C4. But if you put armored on it, 4 C4. And if they're not very smart, you know, they won't blow this wall. If they're smart, yeah, they'll blow the wall, but that's not good for you. We're talking about the defender here, so if they're smart, yeah, whatever. We want them to blow the doors. We want them to waste C4. So there's where your tool cupboard goes. It can go on any of the 3. It doesn't really matter. Completely up to you. However, my one recommendation though, before closing this video, is stagger your tool cupboards. If you're going to put one here in this corner, go up 2 levels, put the next one in this corner. Go up 2 more levels, put the next one in this corner. Never do the tower straight up, because you don't want them to be able to find it easily. Not only that, it's better that way, trust me. Because if at some point they end up rocketing here, and they blow the floor above them and they end up going straight up anyway, they could find it by accident. You never know. And at least if they're somewhat scattered about the base, in good hiding positions, there's a good chance they won't find them all. Which, if they're staggered and up a floor and a half the way that they're supposed to be, there's a good chance they won't be able to build, which is very, very important. So that's pretty much it for this video. It's a lot longer than what I wanted, but as you can see, it's not an easy base. I mean, it's easy, but there's a lot of points where you could screw it up, and there's a lot of building. It's very large to get everything to fit with the 4 and 5 crescent moons, and you got to build out again to get the double doors and whatnot. But once it's actually said and done, it's really not too bad. It's a small base to start from, and then you start getting bigger and bigger and bigger. My favorite thing though is once you get to this point, if you want to expand upon it, if you look here in the triangles, all these triangles are going to be squares. So we're going to go out squares, and then once you get to the corner here where it's going to be a square, you do a triangle. Triangle here. These are all squares. Triangle, triangle, triangle. Oh, that wasn't right. Square. You can add additional layers of honeycombing to all this because the way that they all snap together on that final one. That was really important to make sure that we get that, because for those of you guys that like to expand, that's your opportunity to do so. So I'm going to end this video. If you guys want to see this base grow up to be a big boy base and have multiple layers and have loot rooms and little hidey holes and towers and all that fun stuff, me and DZN have talked it out. We're ready to do it. We will do the video. It'll probably be just as long as this one because there's a lot going in this base. However, if you want to see it, let us know in the comment section below. Otherwise, SGTSolj, Brick and Rust, and we'll see you in the next Brick and Rust video. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you want to see more great content from Private Astro or myself, please hit that subscribe button and click on any of the videos above. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next SGTSolj or Private Astro video. Bye-bye.